Hi, this is Eva Lichru, Greek psychotherapist and coach in London. Today's topic is very close to my heart, as I will get to speak to you about a very important topic, and that is the issue of getting burnout at work. I have seen so many people, both on a personal and professional level, get caught up in a never-ending cycle of working harder, feeling drained, and living less. Remember that unfortunately, burnout makes no exception between men and women. In today's question, you will get to hear Anna's experience, and she writes, "Hi Eva, I'm sure it's not the first time you will get to hear a similar story like mine, but I didn't know what else I can do about it. I'm glad I even had the chance to sit down and write this email to you. My name is Anna, and I believe that I'm a classic burnout case. My dream, ever since I graduated from university, was to get a job in the banking industry. Although I have many friends who had already shared their stories about banking, I thought I would be different. I have always been very driven and organized as a person, so I thought I would be able to handle the job stressor more effectively than others and have a decent quality of life. I have realized I was dead wrong. There are so many things on my to-do list, but I never get the time to actually do them, such as going out with some friends. Is there any advice you could give me on dealing more effectively with burnout? Thank you, Anna." Anna, thank you very much for reaching out and for being so honest about it. I can already think quite a few people who can relate to your question, so that is why I will jump right into the following 4 points. Point number 1, see what your wheel of life looks like. A great way to examine where you have been focusing over the last couple of months and ultimately see what other areas of your life need some attention to would be to draw your wheel of life. Imagine that your life is a wheel, and this wheel consists of different sections corresponding to some typical areas of your life, such as your physical body, your emotions, your relationships, your time, your work, your finances, and lastly, your spiritual sense. The middle of the circle corresponds to 0, and the outside ring of the circle corresponds to 10. Now, taking one area at a time, I would like to ask you to grade yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, where you are today versus where you really want to be. For example, you might rate yourself at 10 in your career and a 0 in your ability to manage your time. Then simply draw a line across the section that represents the number you currently rate yourself at in that particular section. The idea is that the wheel of your life needs to be even in all sections in order to be able to run smoothly. Therefore, after having completed this simple but very effective exercise, you will be able to have a very clear picture of where you are, where you need to be, and which areas of your life need to be even with the others so that you can have a smooth life. Point number 2, be ready to drop some things off your list. I have heard Ariana talk very casually about it, and ever since I have given the same advice to myself and many of my clients. By the way, if you haven't come across Ariana's Huffington book, Thrive, you're about to give yourself a huge gift. So the point that Ariana makes is that it's very important to be honest with yourself and be ready to accept that if you haven't found the time to complete some things on your to-do list and you keep transferring them over to the next one, maybe it's important to realize that it's time you let them drop. Maybe they're not that important to you and you should rather spend your time and energy completing more significant ones. By significant, I mean you need to make sure that your to-do list consists of less items that you feel you should do rather than the ones that you really want to do. Otherwise, your to-do list will always feel impossible to do. Which brings me to point number 3. Take better care of yourself. No matter how low you have been feeling or how drastically you want to change, first things first. You have to bear in mind that in order to be able to make any major or minor shift in your career or in your life in general, you need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to physically take care of yourself. Usually when suffering from burnout, Some people engage in unhealthy coping strategies like drinking too much, smoking, eating too much junk food, not eating enough, or not getting enough sleep. Self-medication is another issue, and some people end up relying on sleeping pills to sleep, or drink more alcohol at the end of the day to de-stress, or even drink more coffee to stay awake for longer, or for waking up after a short night's sleep. Be honest with yourself and do whatever it takes to replenish your natural resources, such as getting a good night's sleep or getting proper nutritious food, etc. Last point for today: identify what is your definition of success. An equally important point to bear in mind is how you have defined success so far. Like many, it seems to me that you have equated money and power with success, and of course there is no right or wrong in that. But since you found yourself wondering about not having a decent quality of life, maybe it's time to be honest with yourself and realize what that is. You see, your definition of a good life is a very personal thing. Your definition may be radically different from another. Spend as much time as you need to come to a better understanding. If you get stuck, it's always helpful to see how others measure success so that you can ultimately create your own personal definition. Before I wrap this up, here's a tweet for you to share. Can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? By Danielle Laporte. Tonya, these were my points to you. I hope they help. Let me know how it goes. Now I would love to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself feeling drained because of work? What did you have to sacrifice because of that? What is your definition of success after all? Let me know in the comments below. As always, sign up to receive updates from me at evalichru.com and don't forget to share this video with your friends. And remember, we all share the same challenges. As long as we share and learn from each other, the better the quality of our life is going to be. See you next time.